Hello. What day is today? Today is, let's see, Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019, and been a good week so far. Work has been busy as tends to be, and I don't think I've done too much open source stuff this week. Oh, I guess I did one little thing. After releasing pre-commit on Saturday? I think it was Saturday. It was Saturday because I did it while streaming. There was one tiny bug which I wasn't ever actually able to reproduce, but it was reported on the tracker, and so I made a fix for it. The new feature, which improved the command line length detection, caused a regression on some platforms. Apparently, on some platforms, scargmax, which is supposed to be defined by POSIX, or according to POSIX, apparently on some Travis CI systems it was always returning -1, which I didn't have any explanation for that, but it happened that way. Hey, outdated version, how's it going? But yeah, I made a little fix for that in this PR, which made sure that even when scargmax returns -1, that it is at least bounded with 4096, which is the POSIX mandated minimum, and basically the value that it was before this PR happened. Other than that, I don't think I've done too much in open source since last stream. I did one session with my brother, teaching him some more programming stuff. We went over lists and such, and set up Flake8 in Vim, which I did the same just to make sure that I had that set up too. Pretty good. I didn't get a candy ad this time. And candy sounds good right now. I just had some candy myself, actually. I don't usually eat candy, but I don't know. Today felt like I needed candy day, so I ate some. I'm doing pretty well. Let's see. Yeah. So I set up Vim plugin. A Vim plugin so that when I write a file, it'll show me Flake8 errors. I was playing with a different option. I don't actually know how to make it show me the error in this mode, but usually this option, you comment in Vim, it's that, Viml. We'll find out. Apparently not. Yes. Why didn't it show this time? I found this YouTube channel that uploads bad drivers from the area I live in. Oh no. That sounds like every driver in San Francisco. How did I break this? Oh, this is the one that I wanted. Yeah, so this is the plugin where it reports Flake8 error. I had my brother set that up, and we played with it a little bit, and he actually found, I should have used QAll. Okay. And he actually found a little issue in their README Vim Flake8. And so my brother committed his first pull request ever, which was kind of exciting. But he just fixed some examples in the README that we found for referring to the wrong function, and so we fixed it to look at the right function. Cool. It's actually pretty amusing. Most of them are the uploader being silly. My favorite is complaining that someone is using a bike/turn lane as the uploader turns from the far lane and then somehow thinks that's okay. Uh, that's funny. Man, when I bike, I should really just like keep a GoPro on me, because the number of times I've been cut off in like hilarious situations is it's just too much. Like the other day, I was biking down in Burlingame, which is right by my house, and there's this admittedly a confusing intersection, which used to be like a yield-based roundabout, but now it has stop signs on every part. And this driver blows through 2 stop signs and then almost hits me and then honks at me, and I'm like, my dude, you just blew through stop signs, why are you mad at me? And he had some choice words for me. I won't repeat them on stream. But he did not, he was not amused with me. And then this other time, I was biking on a back road, which like doesn't usually get lots of traffic, and this guy comes speeding along at like 50 miles an hour, and it's like a 25-mile-an-hour road. Comes along at 50 miles an hour, and then realizes that I'm in the lane, and as a bicyclist in the state of California, you have a right to the full lane, and lays on his horn, and then like slams on his brakes and like screeches to a halt behind me. And then like I swerve off the road because I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna get hit and die, and I don't really want to die on a bicycle. And then the guy gets out of his car and starts coming after me, and I'm like, I can't do this. I'm just gonna run away now. Like as I'm speeding off on my bike, like trying to avoid this enraged man. I don't even know why he was so mad. He must have been having like a really bad day. But I'm speeding off on my bike, and I turn and go, I have the right of way! And that didn't make him any happier. But and then there was a time where I got cut off by none other than a police officer while also in Burlingame, while going down the road. I want to assume that he just didn't see me, and like that was just like his excuse. But nonetheless, he kind of drove me off the road, which is not great. Biking on roads is scary. I don't know why I do it so much, but yeah, there's a lot of classic California. There's a lot of crazy drivers here. All right, but yeah, so I think that's enough of a tangent to start the stream. The thing that I wanted to work on today is adding some features to pyflakes to detect broken string formatting beforehand. And there's so this issue is about percent formatting, and there's kind of 3 types of formatting that I want to expose here, or at least 3 types of lints that I want to expose here. One is like malformed percent formatting, which is what this issue is about. The other is malformed dot format formatting, which I don't think this actually talks about that at all, but it's not too hard to implement. Oh, someone already has a PR for this. Maybe I won't do all of this then. How does theirs work? Oh, they actually run an interpolation. I don't want to do that. I think I can do it all statically. So I'm going to re-implement this guy's PR because I don't think it's the right approach. Because I've already implemented a format parser before. So this guy has a PR, but we're gonna re-implement it. I got distracted. Okay, so one is percent format, the other is dot format formatting, and the last is f strings that don't have any placeholders, which are almost always a mistake. So, and the f strings one is gonna probably be the easiest. Those are the 3 things that I want to accomplish today. I don't know if I'll be able to get all of them done, but that's the plan. Let's see. When I was there, I saw those bike lanes in the road and probably would shit myself riding a bike within those. Yeah, the bike lanes in California, like some of them are good, and they just added a protected lane in protected bike lane SF. They just added one, but only because someone died. and they were like, oh yeah, well, let's look good and make a protected bike lane. Yeah, so they put up this, basically this, where they just put in these plastic things. Although there was this, there's this image before. Where was that? It was probably on Twitter. There was basically like this delivery truck that had beached itself on a divided bike lane. One of the ones where they like actually put up concrete to separate the lane. But it was a delivery truck that had beached itself on the dividing lane and was like, well, this is why we can't have nice things. Yeah, there's actually almost no bike lanes. Are there any bike lanes? I don't think there's any bike lanes on my normal commute route. Although I usually do it at like a time of the morning where there's like, I see 2 cars on the 6.5 mile stretch that I do. Although I see a few more on the way home. But yeah, it's a pretty safe route, and it's safer than the old route that I used to take. So I used to take, I can show some of the route without giving away too much of where I live. So I usually, so even though this train station is right by my house here, I often bike to work just to get some, or like bike to the next train station up just to get some exercise. And so I take like the San Mateo Drive for almost like up until here, and usually there's no cars here in the morning, and then I snake through these side roads back here to kind of avoid this stretch of California Drive, because California Drive is usually pretty busy, and then snake through here, and then this last little stretch here, there's no more room to snake here because it's stuck between ECR and California, which are 2 busy streets. So I usually take this little stretch of California Drive. Fortunately, they just added bike lanes right here, so this part has bike lanes, but everything else through here does not, and so I deal with these windy subdivision roads, which actually aren't that bad. Let's see. I usually start in, here's the first one. So I start in downtown Burlingame, and then this one snakes around through here. I think I go this way, and then up here, and then zigzag through here, and then take this down here. Yeah, something like that. It's a pretty safe route, except for this stretch right here, and this stretch right here is not so good. I don't know. That's my that's my commute. That's where I run into crazy crazy drivers. But yeah, let's try and implement this. I think this dummy formatting is problematic, so we're gonna do it in a different way. Stunning zigzagging, yeah. Me waggling a mouse at a screen. Close enough. PyCQA pyflakes. Oh, and another thing that I found today. Do I still have it in my paste buffer? Let's see. Paste buffer. I found today, and I had a suspicion of this, that my internet service provider is like screwing me out of the plan that I chose. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put some numbers to this, and I'm paying for 150 megabits per second, not megabytes, megabits, which that's like one of the scams that everything does, but it's megabits, and I made sure to match the units, and I'm only getting 10 down, which is 1/15th of what I'm paying for. So I'm gonna have some chats with my ISP later. That's not okay. It's also probably why my stream is so like why I have to stream at 720p and all those other things. So you ride your bike to a train station and then take the train to downtown. Yeah, on most days. I can also just like walk to the train station and then I don't have to bike. Although I choose to bike. It's so I get exercise. What, an ISP screwing someone over? That's unheard of. Yeah, the other thing is I might switch, because San Mateo has some other providers. So I was looking at Wave. No, not that. Wave ISP. Wavebroadband.com. And they have... So I'm paying like $95 to Comcast right now, which I don't really want to do. These don't show the prices, but I happen to remember that this plan is $49 a month, and this one is $39. This is $29 a month. Like, I would... like, this is better. This is probably what I'm getting right now, and this is $19.95 a month. And I could get 10 times as much for $10 more, or like $60 less. So I think I might switch ISPs. So I probably gonna have to call Comcast, be on the phone with them, which I really don't want to do. Yeah, Comcast is only good in the first year, and then they abandon you. Yeah. Like I don't need gigabit Ethernet or internet, but this plan would probably be what I would do. Where they have a mid-tier between these two. Why are these waggling? I don't understand. Oh, it's only when you don't move your mouse? I see. Okay, whatever. But yeah, I need to switch internet providers. Because it's kind of frustrating what I'm dealing with right now. But yeah, so... First what I want to do is kind of like demonstrate the situation that I'm trying to fix, or like the 3 situations I'm trying to fix, and then I'll write tests for them. The first one is probably the easiest one to show, or the third one is the easiest one to show, which is f-strings that don't have any placeholders. Although I want to make sure that I allow something that looks like this, where this actually has a placeholder in it, but this segment of f-string does not, so it's a little bit different. I've written an AST visualizer for you can get kind of this nice tree format instead. Well, you don't need it, but that doesn't mean it isn't required for general happiness. Yeah, I'd probably be a lot happier with faster internet. But yeah, so the thing that I would check for here is a joined string that has no non-stir values in it, and that would basically this would produce a lint message. That's nonsense. Why would you make it a format string if you don't have any format specifier? But down here, like, I would be able to check, like, okay, there's a formatted value inside this join stir. So I think I'll start with that one because it's the easiest one to implement. And if I remember right, there's a test type annotations file, which currently is not well named because I think it also tests things that are not type annotations. Oh, maybe it's just type annotations. I think most of this file blames to me. Log format equals %AE. Yeah, I am the only person that has committed to this file. But I guess I'll make a new test for, let's see, is there one for 3.6 already? Yeah, there is. Test other. F-strings are treated as a usage. This doesn't look right. This actually looks completely wrong, because Baz is unused here. What is going on here? Maybe this test is just bogus. Pyflakes. Yeah. This test is testing nothing, which is fine, I guess. Oh, right curly brace. What is X7B? 7B. Oh, this is just a very... This is an incredibly sneaky way to write this. Which, I don't know why they didn't just do that. I'm so confused. If you're interested, I have a Python question for you. Yeah, sure, shoot. You enjoy myself? Enjoy myself. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Yeah, so that code was just a very sneaky way to write this. I don't know why they did that. But we can write a similar test here. Test f-string without interpolations. So we should expect this to produce some sort of error, and we'll get to that in a second. I was trying to write a Python regular expression that contains an if-then-else with the conditional being a look-ahead, but I couldn't figure out the correct syntax. Conditional being a look-ahead. Yeah, so what sort of... Can you have some, like, example inputs and outputs so I can see what you're trying to match? So this should have so we need to make a message type for this. Pyflakes messages. New outside loop. I guess I just added at the bottom. Yeah, let me write an example real. Cool. Class the f string without placeholders. Message equals I'll come up with a better message later, but that'll be my placeholder message for now. Actually, what do they call it in the documentation? It's f-string Python. Literal string interpolation. Yeah, they call it placeholders, I guess. Okay, so I have like a basic test case. I'll work on better test cases later, but we can start by running the test now. Python 3. So the tests here use basic unit test. I think it looks like this. Discovery. Yeah, I always type with that. I typed the word discovery so many times that whenever I type this line out, I happen to type it that. Cool, so we have our failing test, and so now we want to implement the bit that checks that. Is the AST Join stir. Join stir equals handle children. I think this is the way that you trivially move this out. I don't know how to select tests in unit tests though. I guess I could just look and see. Let's see. Link. For the first string, capture up to the second slash. For the first string, capture up to the first slash. What are... Is this like an opcode or something? Or like... This seems different than if then else. Oh, I see. So you have like a 0? Oh, those are interfaces on a router. What? So for these two strings, like it would be pretty easy. Let's see, regex 101. So you want to match everything up into a slash, but not the last component. You do a variable length look ahead. Python 3 R8, not reduce. Look ahead. Matches if the So I mean, this matches that already. But you could also do like a positive look ahead that's not a slash till the end of the oh wait, that won't match anything. Here, I'll paste the entire way I did it. This matches it so far, right? Do that wrong? What you say? Oh wait, it was in the paste pan. For the first string, capture up to the second slash. For the second string, capture up to the first slash. I mean, this works. But I assume there's more to the problem than what you've stated. Hey Dan Hillard, thanks for following. Every follow counts. Yeah, it does. Maybe I was overthinking, or maybe I presented the problem incorrectly. Let me review my code, and I'll let you know which of the two it was. I'm pretty sure that you underspecified the problem, because this seems way too simple to be right. But the reason this works is the star here is greedy. If I change this to dot star question mark, it'll only match the first segment, because then this dot star will be a non-greedy lookup. But if you make it greedy, then that works. But if you had like a slash at the end, it would match all the way up to that one too. Oh, mo regexes, mo problems. Although, the way that I would probably do this in Python without using regexes is... let's see. Add some tests here. So an easier way to do this, to just get this first segment and not do the last segment, is to use the partition function. So you could do, let's see, underscore s.r partition slash. So this will do a partition from the right hand side and split it into 3 chunks: the after chunk, the split, and the beginning part. Assuming I know what I'm talking about. Too many spaces. So this will print just this chunk, this chunk. Assuming it's that simple. Michigan/UMich representing. Yeah, go blue. I went to Michigan. How'd you know I went to Michigan? I'm sure you can find it pretty easily, I guess. Let's see. What would be the easiest way to know that I went to Michigan? Oh, I guess you could go to my website that I haven't updated since 2012. And notice here that says, at the time of writing this, I'm attending the University of Michigan. So that's one way. I guess you could also find from my email address or LinkedIn. Oh, for my Get email. Yeah, that would do it. It's, that's the most common one, is to look at like a patch that I made. Look at this and do .patch and then see acetally@umich.edu. Which I'm really surprised that more recruiters don't just like scrape GitHub, like grab these email addresses, but maybe they're not that clever. which I'm okay with. Please no. Pattern to match tests. Oh, that's like test file. -K to match substrings. What was my test called? F strings without placeholders. Oh, dang it. So there's ast.dump, which is not as good as ast-pretty's dumping. But we can tell here that there's no what are they called? There's no placeholders here. If not any, formatted value. Self dot was the message that I made. String without placeholders. Yeah, I was overthinking it. I was researching how to perform lookouts to tell if there was 2 delineators or just 1, and writing different regex captures based on that. Makes sense. Do universities deactivate your email addresses eventually? I'm not familiar with that. It depends on the university. Michigan has said, at least when I was in school, they said that we'll be able to keep the email address forever. And that was through a deal with Google. So like, actually, let me see if I can open my email without giving up way too much information. I was recruiting from Dropbox, but yeah, my University of Michigan email goes through Gmail. So in theory, that'll never go away. I use it for Git and stuff. Works pretty well. But yeah, this if you're overthinking it, this regex will work. Kind of embarrassing, but this is, I've only been doing Python for like 4 months now. Yeah, it's completely fine. Mine was pre-Google, but still has free forwarding for life. That's good. Yeah, they switched from their like, they had 2 of their own hand-rolled email clients my first 2 years, One was called Blue and the other was called Maze, and Blue was the like shitty plaintext one, and Maze was the like fancy HTML5 Web 2.0 stuff. But I actually used the crappy one because it like kept most of the annoying features like out of the way, and Maze was slower. But then they switched halfway through, and it was like 2 weeks of zero productivity as everyone's emails got lost in the transfer, and like, it was a mess. But it was much better to me on Gmail afterwards. Thanks for your help. I'm gonna rewrite my script since I know a better way to do it now. Awesome. Well, glad to help. Even if this regex was simpler than you thought it would be. But anyway, I think this implements the first lint rule that I wanted to have here, which is just checking for f strings that have no placeholders. So we pass the test that I wrote. I should also test it for triple quoted strings. Let's see. Where was it? We had one with the inline string. Something like that, and another one for implicitly joined strings. We should report 3 of these errors. It's a long error message, but I think it's right. Under indented. Cool. I think that's how that works. Yeah, so they just reported this twice. F string without placeholders. Okay, so that was the first one that I wanted to implement. Add lint rule for F strings without placeholders. Actually, one thing that I wanted to test is if I have an F string with just curly braces in it. So this looks like a placeholder, but these are the escape sequences for placeholders. Does this trip it to that pocket? Oh, cool. That works. Should probably add a test for that. I didn't know unit test discover had a pattern matching option. I've been typing full dotted paths like a fool. I mean, I didn't know it had one either. I think it's new in Python 3 maybe? Let's see. Yeah, it's new in Python 3. Hey, where is it now? Maybe it's new in Python 3.7. Yeah, it's new in Python 3.7, I guess. So, don't feel like a fool. Python 3.7 hasn't been out for very long. What's new? Python 3.7. Unit test. Yeah, so that was like one of the only things they added in unit test. I'm pretty sure they took -k from pytest. That's what it is in pytest. Yeah, like pytest's -k option. I missed it in the release notes too. I don't read it very often. Also, it's like kind of buried down here. But also there's a mile of release notes, so I don't blame you for missing it. And it's a good thing that I tried Python 3.7, otherwise I would have missed it too. Is dash T? Oh, it's dash K in Jest too? No, it's dash T. Alright, I see. Cool. So that's the first one. The next one I wanted to do was dot format strings. Which is going to be in the, I think it's the attribute? No, it should be call, which currently has no no implemented stuff here. Oh, I was going to write a test. Distracted. Pyflakes test other. Is there a way that I can specify that as a list instead? I see. Oh no, I would just need to, I guess I can do it as multiple calls. No, I want to type that over and over. And the highlighting in my editor is all sorts of screwed up because it doesn't actually do a parse tree. All of these string matches are based on this terrible regex. Which I tried to improve, but like this is how it does string formatting. Not great. Or string highlighting. But it can like slightly improve if I put backslashes here, I think. I don't remember, but it's kind of a mess. We don't need help. Maybe I should call it missing placeholders so that it sounds more problem-y. Messages. Missing. F-string is missing placeholders. I like that better. Name number of characters. Okay, so that one's good. So the next thing that I wanted to do is dot format with either the wrong number of parameters or invalid parameters. So something like this, which has too many format specifiers, so like too many format specified, and then something like this, which will always produce an error, and then something like this, which also produces an error. Not enough. Specified. Right out of bounds. Kind of go from there. Fortunately, the standard library provides a parser for these, which I use in pyupgrade. Oh, that's there. Any projects you recommend to do for a newbie in Python? So the one that I usually suggest, if you interact with any like chat platforms or like Discord or stuff like that, is to try and write a bot for one of those. They're often a good place to get started because it gives you like something visual to work on and like something that has output and you can interact with. In fact, like I used writing a bot as a opportunity to try and learn some async IO in Python, and so I wrote a Twitch bot from scratch. Because it forced me to learn a protocol and learn stuff about async def and await and all that shenanigans, and so like I ended up with the chatbot that you see in stream. It doesn't have very many commands, but it does some stuff. I hope to add some more features to it eventually, but it was kind of a neat project to like get started with stuff. Another one that you can always get started with is like make a website for something. Now, granted, making an interactive website can increase in scope rapidly and sometimes isn't for everyone, but it's another option. But chatbots are there's a million ideas for them, and they can always improve. Teach you new things. But no, yeah, like other than that, I don't really have any good ideas for projects. Like the best projects, in my opinion, for learning are ones that you want to get something out of, and like find something that inconveniences you, or something like you want to automate or anything like that, and like try and make it happen. Find that if you're forcing yourself to do something to make your life better, you'll be more motivated and learn better. So motivation is a big part of learning. Okay, thanks, bro. I'll try and learn on the bot. Work on the. Can't talk today. You'd think I would know how to talk for streaming, but nope. But anyways, back to detecting format strings. The standard lib provides a string.formatter, which will parse format strings for you. So I can basically use this to suss out the different format types. And I think I already used this. So there's kind of a couple errors that we can get here. We can get a completely invalid format literal if like parse format fails. We can also know what the format specifiers are supposed to be. I'll probably look back on this code later, but we'll be able to find what the key is. The last segment will always be the end of the string and not a format. We slice it off to avoid a none format key. Okay, so the format key is the second part. Okay. There's some stuff that I want to check because I know pyupgrade doesn't have to handle it. But if you have unnumbered ones and then numbered ones, does this work? Cannot switch from automatic field numbering to manual field specification. Okay. The answer is no. Can you also do this? Oh. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know that you could have mixed keyword and non-keyword. I guess it makes sense. String.formatter function called parse. Arse. Huh. Weird that the last segment will always be at the end of the string and not a format. Oh, did I just find a bug? I think I just found a bug. Because this ends... Oh, no. I remember. In PyUpgrade, it's a string literal, so the quotes are always there. So this will always be none at the end. Okay. I do need to ignore this one, but when the format strings are empty strings, they're the automatically numbered ones. Otherwise, they're strings or none. And so this allows us to get a full list of all of the string literals. But yeah, let me start classifying some of the, or like writing some test cases for this. Not PyUpgrade, we're working on pyflakes. Test other. Test invalid format calls. Oh, this is not the right test class. The other thing that I'll have to make sure is that it always has to be string.format thing, and not an F string as the left-hand side. Otherwise, it could change the contents of the string such that it would make the static analysis wrong. So we had these cases that I wrote down above. And this broken code highlighting is really annoying in this project, but that's fine. So this dot format 1, 2. String format. Not enough placeholders. This will be string format. Not enough arguments. And I'll probably refine the names of these messages later. Or maybe this will just be like string format missing argument. Yeah, let's do that. And then this will be a special case of string format missing argument to dot format 1. I wonder if this reports an error. No, it doesn't. We can also have that be an error as well, because that's an error at runtime. String format mixing automatic. That's an error, right? Yes. And then we want to, let's see, string.formatter dot parse. That's also an error. String format. Maybe I'll call these string dot format as opposed to percent formatting. The string dot format invalid string. And I think that's all of the cases. I should do one of these for like mismatched keyword arguments. I think that covers all the cases that I wanted to link for. So let's try and make this test pass. It almost certainly doesn't pass right now. It's not bad that I had. Has no, well, we don't have messages yet. Let me make those message classes. Some of these messages will have like strings in them. Okay, class string dot format not enough placeholders. I guess this could just be arguments without placeholders, and then we can generalize this to make it to apply to keyword arguments also. Argument without placeholder. Yeah. Or argument without placeholder. Okay, so string dot format argument without placeholder. Something like that. It's like string.format has argument 2. Well, this would be argument 1, but no placeholder, or argument bar, but no placeholder. Or has substitution. Yeah, I like that better. Substitution without placeholder. Then init self file name loc, and then substitution message so that's that one. String dot format missing argument. I'm gonna smash my quotes here. Is missing argument for placeholder. Put these in backtakes. Let me smash my quotes again. And then we need the same initialization here, but instead of substitution here, it's placeholder. That covers these first two. Also these ones here. I don't know if you're keeping with the existing style, but you can say a little, and can I say a little bit about message.doubleInit versus super.init there? Yes, so I am keeping with the existing style, and my assumption is, let's see if my assumption is right. No, my assumption is wrong. They have no reason to do that because they're inheriting from object, so they should be using super there. But I'm not about to fix their code for them. But yeah, it would be better to write this as super this self.init file name loc. So this would be the Python 2, Python 3 way to do this. You need both. If you're just supporting Python 3, you can shorten that to this, which is the, in my opinion, the best of the three. The reason that you should use super instead of just like manually calling this is, well, it doesn't matter in this case, but when you have a diamond inheritance, the super will follow the memory lookup in the right way or something like that. I don't know. I don't do too much inheritance, so it doesn't really apply to me all that often. But that's why it's chosen this style versus the two. My assumption, and I guess we can look at the history. G object flakate. No, we're not in flakate. I'm not even in the right directory. Come on. Object pyflakes messages. We have no idea because the first commit of this was using object, and so they had no reason to use this there. Although maybe, let's see, that was in, when was that? 2005? When was super a thing? Python super. One way to find out. Ancient Pythons. Oh, this is gonna cause. Oh, I've already dropped frames. Why have I dropped frames? I haven't been downloading anything. But now I'm gonna drop frames. Let's see if it was there in Python 2.0. Python 2.0. Watch the build fail. 2.4 super. My current hunch is that this code was written before super existed, but might be wrong. Well, it was apparently there. The super function was apparently there in Python 2.3. There's no variable named super. So it wasn't there in 2.0. I guess when was new style classes a thing? New style classes, Python. When were they introduced? Before 2.2. I don't have Python 2.2. I can't actually show that. When did Python 2.2 come out? Python 2.2 release date. Was it before 2005? 2.2 is 2001. Yeah, 2.5 was around in 2006, so they should have used super. I don't have any explanation for them. But I'm going to continue with their style, just to be consistent. So, anyway. Hope that explains. Class string dot format mixing automatic. String.format mixes automatic and manual numbering. This one I don't have to give it any stuff, which is good. And then the last one is just invalid format string. String.format invalid format string message. As invalid format string. I guess I can put the message here. File name loc error. Okay, so now the test should fail and not fail in an attribute error. It should fail in missing the substitution without placeholder. I thought I renamed that. Did I typo it? String.format. Oh, I did. But I forgot to change class. Okay, cool. So now it's failing to fail, which is what we want. Now we want to take call out of here. That's nice. Oops. This is bogus. There we go. Let me be in a virtual env so that I can use AST pretty and look at these objects in a nicer way. Right now it's a little cumbersome to use ast.dump when I could be using nicer things. There we go. So we can get the string, and we can use string.formatter. Let's see, call .func.value.s. String is not defined. Oh. Cool. That allows us to get our format string out, so we can start working from there. Need some imports up at the top. parse format string equals string dot formatter dot parse. So first we need to detect if we're a format call. So we need to be, we know we're a call already, so we need to check if the function is an attribute. Node.func.ast.attribute, and the value of it needs to be a string. Node.value.ast.str, and the attribute needs to be format. This should be node.func.value. And the adder is equal to format. That's how we know that this is a format call. And so then we'll look at args and keywords. But we need to, we need to bail if we see star args or star quargs, probably. What was it? Node.func.value.s. Node.func.value. Report the message type. So this is the case where it's a invalid for specifier. Invalid format string. In theory, this test should already pass here. I'm gonna move this into a separate function so I can just early return instead of like infinitely increasing my indentation every time I see this. Field format, handle string format. Handle string dot format. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so we should pass this first test now, and it should start looking for this string when we get to our breakpoint. In theory. Assuming I don't have a syntax error. Because I missed a parenthesis here. We'll just ignore those. Tool has no string dot format valid string. String dot format invalid string. What did I call it then? Oh, I called it invalid format string, which is a much better name. I guess I could just call it invalid format. Parse string format is not thing. Is it parse format string? Yeah, it is. So okay, cool. So now it's on to this second case here, where we have 2 format strings and only 1 placeholder. So now we need to figure out all of the keys. So we need to detect if it's automatic. And we showed that automatic and then named is okay, right? Yeah, it's a little bit weird, but so this will handle us detecting automatic. Go back to the py upgrade code because I think there's something I need to grab there. Yeah, we need to know whether something is inty. Which I think I can just use. There's a function for this. Is digit. Although I wonder if it works for like wide characters. Let me just access IRC to grab me some wide numbers. I could. I bet this doesn't work like I want. What? What happened here? Can I use these as strings? Oh wait a second. Index out of range. What is going on here? What is this character? Is this actually a wide one, or is this one with wide combining character? No, it's... So here's what I did. I make this bigger? No. So there's this IRC command that makes these wide characters. And apparently... Oh. I mean, I guess it works. Does it work in Python too? Really surprised me. Oh, it only works in Unicode. What? Ugh. This is an edge case I had not anticipated. I don't really want to think about. Maybe it's auto-numbered and you can skip early indices. Yeah. I'm just like, these are wide numbers. These are not integers. Although, like, that's false, but this is true. I guess that's fine. Well, I guess I can use is integer, because apparently even wide numbers are considered integers, or is digit. String is digit. No, not Java. Why does it tab complete like that? Is dig. Is digit returns true if all characters in the string are digits and there is at least one character false otherwise. Decimal characters and digits that need special handling, such as the compatibility superscript digits. This covers digits which cannot be used to form numbers in base 10. Okay, so I don't think I can use is digit. So string dot numbers, what is it? String dot digits? So I guess I could use that. Ugh. Or I could use the code that I used in PyUpgrade, which is just call int on it and see if it's good. This is going to be a weird set. It's going to be a mix of integers and strings, I think. Maybe it can just be strings? I don't know. Integers and strings probably makes the most sense. But not strongly typed. Let's see, if format key is the empty string, then format key equals next auto placeholder. And you can increment that. value error, right? Or type error. I think it's only type error if it's none. Yeah. So we don't actually need to catch type error there. Although before we do this, we need to do if automatic and I guess it would be here. This will handle the like automatic switching case. So we had some automatic at some point and then some integer. What's the name for that? Mixing automatic. So other than that, it's just collect all of the format specifiers. Keys dot add format key. Okay, and so after this we should have collected all those, but we can actually move this test to the top because it should now pass. But it should prematurely return if it finds this case. So we shouldn't report any other errors there. Does int of the empty string succeed? No. Why? This string somehow triggered this. Oh, music paused. I'm still watching. Oh, I've been streaming for an hour and a half. Great. Why is that triggering it? Oh, because we've already assigned it up here. Need to reorder this. And that will be fine. So we're at one format.format12, which should be this here. Okay, cool. So we have 2 passing test cases so far. And we should have a list of our keys now, which is just 0. And so now we need to generate keys from the arguments of this call, which I have to make sure that in Python 2 I have to make sure that the starred arguments and such are reported properly in Python 2. which, if I remember right, they changed because you can have multiple star arguments in Python 3.5 plus. Did I just make... oh. I named it VMF2, but I didn't make it Python 2. I make that mistake all the time. Yes, yes. Anyway. Okay, so in Python 2 there's star args and quargs. We need to skip those. If getter node args or okay, so in Python 2, we get these, which are easy to find. In Python 3, it's a little harder. We have to find a starred or a keyword. Ugh. These keywords look like in Python 2. Oh cool, we get these keyword objects. And we don't need to get at her here. This fits on one line, cool. Okay, so Python 2, we get this quargs or this star args. Okay, so in all of these cases we need to bail early before checking. Let's see, is it normal to be hired as a software dev intern at a company where the results but not the code is reviewed and no other software engineers work there? So like you're the only software developer and they don't care about the code you write? And it's never been in a position that I've been in, although I guess I did write really shit code at my first job, or at least some of it was really bad before I knew what I was doing. Like exceptionally bad, like objectively bad code, not just like hard to maintain, but like I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I'm pretty sure there was one app where I made SQL calls from a template, and it was basically just like 200 lines of SQL in a template. We'll ignore that. This is not a Yelp. This is my job before that. But no, that's a little unusual. Although, like, some contracting rules don't care what code you write. They just, like, they want to ship their feature, and if they don't, like, they don't have any developers, then that's, like, not too unusual. I'd be sure that, if you're in such a role, that you sign a contract that makes sure that you get paid, because it could be a scam, maybe? But no, that's not super normal. It's probably pretty unusual that a company hires an intern when they don't have any other software developers. Still want this to do. You're paid hourly. Yeah, this just sounds like a normal contracting setup then. I did some freelance that sounds similar to that. They didn't call it interns, they just called it like freelance work. Although I was at an age where it would have been considered interns. Wait, what did I call this? Placeholders? Substitution without placeholder. Yeah, this should be placeholders. Okay, so here we're adding the integers for all of the arguments, and then we'll also add all of the keys for the keywords. Keyword.arg. I'm just confused if this is the right type of internship for me fresh out of school. Are you fresh out of high school or fresh out of college? Or like fresh out of university? Because out of like university, I would find a more formal software thing. But if it's out of high school, like, get whatever you can get. Like, experience is experience at that age. So like 2-year college or like 4-year college? Syntax error. Well, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, I would look for more than that if I had just graduated from a 4-year college. Yeah, especially if you have a CS degree. Yeah, get something better than that. Hey, I'm confused why we're at this breakpoint at all. We should have earlier returned here? Yeah, we should have earlier returned here. What's going on here? What case is this? My code base is getting large and my code is starting to slow down. That always happens. My velocity at work is close to 0. Oof. I don't know what to tell you there. Mine's I guess some days are worse than others because I end up in a bunch of meetings and stuff. Oh, I see what happened. I reassigned placeholders to a set here, and so this is always an empty call this placeholder keys. I can get rid of this breakpoint now. Oh, that's an interesting way to confuse myself. Okay, so we should have placeholder keys, should be that, and substitute. Is right? Tell me everything's gonna be fine. I mean, it happens. Especially at larger organizations, it's a lot easier to get blocked on work. Low velocity isn't always a problem. There are some, oh man, like last week, right before Lyft's IPO, we were in a code freeze to like make sure that everything was stable and went well during the IPO, and like everything ground to a halt because we weren't allowed to deploy, and so I didn't get much work done. Some people on my team spent time just writing documentation. Like, that's kind of a productive thing to do during downtime. But I was so antsy that week because I just like, couldn't do anything. Sounds like an addiction. Yeah, probably. Like, you go to work and you expect to work and then can't, and I don't know. I was super on edge and super jittery that week. It was a mess. This week has been better though, because now we can write code and deploy. Although because of the code freeze, we're having like a complicated rollout path to make sure that we don't break production as part of the thaw. Because a lot of teams like continued to do work but like couldn't deploy it, and so they just batched up a bunch of changes that needed to go out, and now we're trying to safely roll those sets of changes out so it doesn't explode all at once. I'm thinking about how to word this message better, because it's really like it has extra arguments, but missing placeholders. But then I could split it up into positional and not. I think I should split it up into positional and not. Just like. So this would be string.format extra positional arguments. Or extra positional, yeah, sure. Format has %d extra substitution arguments. Then extra keyword arguments. Do you use any naming conventions at work? Kind of. Like, we try and follow pyflakes as much as possible. Which... And, like... Nobody's perfect, and we don't... Depending on the repository that we commit to, it doesn't have consistency or not. So, naming... Yeah, so, like, this is the case that we use for constants. We use this for classes. We underscore prefix things that are so-called private. We don't ever use this case. We never use this case. We use this for functions and module names. Some of our module names are named poorly, so like we have some module names that are like this. We do have linters, but like for that, but not every repository uses them. So like we use, I think it's Flake8 naming. Naming? No, we use Flake8 naming, which is the Flake8 plugin that uses that. Assuming it exists. This exists. Simple. No, it doesn't. Okay, we use pyflakes naming then. Which provides a plugin for. Okay. Anyway, we use this plugin in some repositories, but not all of them. There are some like names that we bike shed on a little bit, so like the test file naming can go back and forth. And Precommand has a linter for this that some repositories use and some don't. Name tests test. So this checker asserts that all of the test files end in _test.py. There's also a --Django, which at this point is like probably not the best name for this argument, but at the time I didn't really know better. That flips it, so they must start with test instead. So that's depending on the repository, and it either follows this top one or this bottom one, or a mix of them, because no, there's not always consistency. But yeah, I think those are the only naming conventions that we really follow. So pyflakes, and then name the tests properly. We almost never use double underscore for name mangling. Or it does name mangling. We very rarely do it, mostly because it just we don't write enough inheritance to make it worth it. That's that. String.format extra keyword arguments. As unused keyword arguments. Extra keywords. adjust my tests for that. So this first one is extra positional arguments. Do you prefix private members and methods with underscores? Yes. So like tt.py. So we would do something like this. Or yeah, so we would single underscore prefix these. Extra positional arguments and extra keyword arguments. Did this, and this would be extra keyword arguments. Actually, let's do extra named arguments. That's slightly more English friendly. And so then I guess this should be like missing positional argument. And this should be same, and this should be missing named argument. So extra positional arguments, extra named arguments, and this should be actually this is fine. I can just reuse this one twice. Okay, so now we can start fixing this up, I guess. Actually, we'll just keep it like this. So extra substitutions equals substitutions minus placeholder keys, and then extra placeholders equals placeholder keys minus substitutions. Basically just doing the set differences here, and then we'll report errors based on that. Skip if camel case, yeah. That's because it's from the unit test library, which is one of the oldest libraries in Python, and so it maintains all of these like camel case names. Oh, speaking of really old Pythons, I managed to compile Python 0.9.1 this morning and added it to my Ancient Pythons repository. I have it cloned, I think. Yeah, just make Python 0.9.1. And 0.9.1 was a bit of an interesting Python. Double quoted strings were not a thing. Single quoted strings are though. Hi. There's no OS module. Stack traces were not quite the same as before. The POSIX module existed though. Let's see. POSIX.lister. See, what modules were there? /lib? That's how that works. Yeah, so there were a bunch of modules. What is dump? Dump.dumpvar. Function expects arguments. Oh, that's kind of nice. Why'd they get rid of this? This is so nice. Printable. No prints for print. Yeah, you can do it back then, actually, though. So that syntax works all the way back to 0.9.1. And the reason for that is a parenthesized string is just the string. So it's a little sneaky. What other interesting models were there? Oh, shutil existed back then. But it was just copying stuff. But anyway, Python 0.9.1 still works. It doesn't support version. It's like, what is this version file? And even the sys module doesn't have a version identifier. But was turtle a thing back then? These are not ordered. Just ls. Lib. I mean, they had tickle, but it looks like they didn't implement turtle back then. Looks like turtle was introduced in 1.5.2, or sometime between 1.4 and 1.5. But not in the earlier versions. Turtle was my first program. I've actually never played with Turtle. It seems like, from what I've heard, it seems like a good learning tool, but I've never used it. My first Python programming was writing stuff for Yelp. Yeah. Okay. So, I just thought about something. This number of unused substitution arguments is kind of wrong, because someone could have something like this, where they have 0, 2, and 3. So there's one unused positional arguments, but it's at position 1. So I really want to say like unused positional arguments at position 1. This message is getting longer and longer. As unused arguments at positions. Seems fine. I feel like Hungarian notation would be good to use in Python since it's not strongly typed. Yeah, some I've worked in some code bases that use some amount of Hungarian notation, but at least in Python 3, there's less need to do that with type annotations. If you look at, what's the repo of mine? I think this has type annotations. Yeah, so like you can type annotate stuff now, and so like Hungarian notation becomes a little less necessary. That said, sometimes I do like underscore DCT for dictionary variables, but I don't know, I've never really liked Hungarian notation, and it was like absolutely forbidden at my first job. We worked in C# shop, and so like we used the whatever Microsoft linters. No Hungarian notation for you. So yeah, I'm not a fan, but it certainly happens. I think I should actually keep these separate now that I think. Hey, what's up, Will and Tulsa? Thanks for following. Every follow counts. What build system does Lyft use? So a bunch of different build systems. Let's see. So for Python, we don't really use much of a build system because it's just like set up a virtual env, install dependencies kind of thing. But all of our services run in Docker, so we use Docker as a build system. We also use a technology called sourced image, which is a way to build convention-driven Docker images. So basically, the idea behind sourced image is you write a little shell script and a Docker base image, and the shell script is based on some sort of convention. So for instance, like in a Python repository, it might be that the repository has a requirements.txt file, and so the shell script will like set up a virtual env and install the requirements.txt, and then at the end you end up with a fully baked image without having developers worry about how Docker works and all of that shenanigan. I guess to some extent we use sourced image as a tool. For things like Envoy, let's see, Envoy proxy GitHub. Envoy uses Bazel, or I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's a build system. It works, I guess. Also, our autonomous vehicle software uses Bazel to build stuff. For front-end stuff, we use, I think it's mostly Webpack. We also have a tool that wraps it that we call FE Build, our like front-end build tool. For the Java repos, they use Maven. For Go, we use Go Builds, and we use, for now we use Glide, which is kind of deprecated, but it works for us for now. We're planning to move to Go modules at some point, but we have to get to a better state where it's easier for us to upgrade stuff. But for now we use Glide as our package manager build install tool for Go. I think that covers all the languages and build tools we use. Technically, all of these tools get wrapped by a homegrown tool called Control. Control is kind of like Docker Compose, but with a bunch of new features. It was written before Docker Compose existed, so doesn't really, like, we probably would have used Docker Compose if it didn't exist. But it manages all of our builds and container runtime and stuff for now. And for configuration management, we use SaltStack. So that's how we install stuff. So that goes over, I think, most of our build stuff. Let's see. Set range len. I actually have 4 categories here, right? So I have 3 categories. So I have extra placeholder. These names are so long. Maybe I'll just do P placeholder, P positional, and P named. No, I don't like that either. I'm gonna go with the long name. Placeholder positional and placeholder names. Oh wait, this is supposed to be the other way around. So extra substitutions and extra names. And then we have extra placeholders. Okay. So if there's extra positional, then report messages dot this guy with node and sorted have extra named arguments. And if we have extra placeholders, oh, this is actually missing arguments. I don't remember how this worked. Missing argument. Missing argument for placeholder. It looks like for each one of them. We report a message. I like that messaging. Now my test should pass. Messages is not defined. Indeed it is not. Need my formatter here. Not all arguments converted during string formatting. What do you mean, not all arguments? Oh, probably shouldn't put the value error in there. But at least not the problem here, but is an issue. Where was that? Invalid %s. Oh, I can use this trick to just find when that's an exception by doing try exception PDB and then PDB.postmortem. So this will drop into a debugger when this exception happens. And if I was using PyTest, I would use --PDB and it would just drop me there. Did I typo the word message? I did. Oh, it works. But now we have a test failure. Format has unused arguments at positions 0. True, this is unused. I can just remove this to make the test less broken. The examples are a little bit contrived now, but the tests pass. So I should add tests for the things that I said to do on. To bail if we see that. So we did that, but we didn't test it. Oh, got undefined name, right. Of course, we need to actually make these tests more legitimate. Okay, so we tested that. I think that actually implements that feature. And so then I just have to implement the same thing for percent format, and then we're done. Cool. Oh, this is my fault. Whoops. From one of my older features. And I also wrote the type annotation too. So these type annotations are now checked by pyflakes. And since list and dict aren't imported, these trigger the check. I'm pretty sure I added those in the PR, which I added the check, which is also kind of funny. Oh well. So let's show what these errors look like now. Okay, so on line 1, format has unused arguments at position 1. I guess maybe instead of a list, I should comma join these. Yeah, that would probably be better. Comma join those guys. Expected stir found int. Makes sense. Don't have to string these. So, this has unused arguments at position 1. Is correct. One has unused name argument K. Correct. Missing arguments for placeholder 1. It's correct, but it's an empty placeholder, so it's a little bit misleading. Fine. Hopefully it's fine. Has unused named arguments Baz. True. It's missing an argument for argument bar. Also true. Has an invalid format string. Single curly brace encountered in format string. Yes. Mixes automatic and manual numbering. What is the actual error message for that one? Cannot switch from automatic field numbering to manual field specification. Fine. Okay, I think that implements that feature, and then the last is the percent format. Add linting for dot format. Okay, so the percent format parsing is a little bit more complicated. Parse percent format. I mean, I assume it's right. I wrote it and tested it. Oh, what just dinged? Oh, I think it's that Chrome thing again. Where I had a search and then on raw. Yeah, causes it to ding. I don't know what you're doing, Chrome. There's percent format. I think I need all of this. Does pyflakes still support Python 2.6? No. No. It does not. Yeah, in fact, here's the Python requires. Could fix that. Convert to value. What is the here? Oh, it dinged on the way back too. 1.14.0. Oh, what's the licensing of pyflakes? I guess I should check that. License. MIT, perfect. Oh, MIT to MIT. I'm happy to donate this to pyflakes. How does this work? This is a fun regex. B matches a literal parenthesis followed by a capturing group which contains any character that's not a parenthesis, and then a literal parenthesis. I guess it's not as complicated as this mash of characters looks. Maybe I should copy the tests for percent format too. I have it cloned. You have a lot of tests for it. Kind of a weird format that I chose. It's either like a tuple, a 5 tuple, or none. I don't know, I'll just keep it without testing it. Sure, I'll get asked for tests during code review and then I'll fix it. Okay, so the type of operator I think is binary operator for percent format. Oh, it's getting late. Do I want to actually finish this? Kind of. Pretty close, I guess. We really only have 2 cases that we can handle statically. I guess we can know whether the versions are valid or not. We have it right. Oh, I should put this below call so I'm not splitting it. Handle percent format self node. If node.auth is equal to ast. Alright. So if it's a mod and the left is a stir. Is incomplete format. Oh, missing an end character. Oof. Well, there's a bug there. It's not a bug in it's not a bug in pyupgrade because pyupgrade always sees quoted strings. So you'll get this bogus double quote format character. But in pyflakes you'll see that problem. What do you actually see as the error message though? Incomplete format. Write test first. Test other. Should use the one that's in the issue. Percent foo no s. Cool, so I have a failing test. What is it? Incomplete format. Dot left dot s. Yeah. Unsupported format character dot line 9 or index 9. Oh. I know it's wrong. There's a percent in this string, so it needs to be escaped. Okay, so we have a passing test. Cool. Is it possible? I think it's not possible to have... Actually, let's see what it looks like. We just have %s and then some named arguments. Oh, the music stopped again. Because I'm at 2.5 hours now. Great. Type error. Format requires a mapping. And if we give it a mapping, not enough arguments for format string. Okay, so it's an error. Unless... Okay, good. Definitely can't mix them. It's an error to have mixed, so let's do that next. Uh-oh, got an S. Okay, so we have an unnamed and a named. We actually don't care about these inner parts at all. But since the code was copied, I'm just going to leave them. call this error. So this is the case where we have, so we've detected that we have some positional and we found a name. We also have to detect in the opposite direction. Did we do that up here? We did not. Yeah, so we also have to go the opposite direction up here. Like if automatic is false and we find an empty string, we need to handle that. Let's finish this or this section, and then I'll go back and add that to the previous commit. We have this case, but we need to do it in the other direction. Actually, let's make sure there's an error first. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so it's both the wrong message and not an error, so we need to fix that. If not automatic, and format key is the empty string. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, so we need to know the valid conversions. Python 3 printf. Oh, I can never find where it is. Python treestir dot format. I think it's in this page, not in this one. Printf style string formatting. Here we go. Okay, so these are all of the valid conversion flags. I'm gonna open this off screen so I can copy it while I have my VM open. frozen set of CIOUX capital X capital E F G capital G CRSA and percent. This link. Old string formatting, nice. Unsupported format character. Okay. If conversion not in. Was it valid conversions? I just wrote it. Messages.percent format unsupported format character. Should in theory support this or do the same thing for dot format formatting, but that can be a PR later. %J. Still at it, I see. Yeah, I thought that I could maybe finish this quickly, but it's spiraling. I'm getting tired, but I don't want to like finish. I don't want to leave a half-finished branch, because I don't know when I'm gonna have time to work on this next. So just gonna stay up and finish it. Which means my quality of commentary has been downhill. I thought I could finish this quickly. Famous last words, yeah. So true. This works. Let's see. Did they mention anything else in this issue? We handle this case. Blah blah blah. GPL. Good thing I didn't look at them. Okay, so that's all that's left is to do the positional count and keyword count. Yeah. Okay, so that's fine, but this is not. Yeah, not all arguments converted. But the positional one, it has to match exactly. But for percent, it doesn't have to, but it's probably still like worth pointing out. Additional count equals 0. Named as a set. This be a list also? Yes. If should I handle the case where we have positional and dictionary? Oh, wait, that works. Right. You do not seem okay, lol. Yeah, I'm just like trying to think about all these things at the same time, and there's a bunch of different cases, and I don't ever use this type of string formatting, so I'm like spending all this work for something I won't ever use. So it's just like I'm trying to figure out how worth it is. The answer is not very, but I'm also so close that I just want to finish this. But there's a bunch of different cases here. So let's just do the first case. We'll write a test, then we'll write the code. Write test, then code. Okay, so we have two cases for this positional count mismatch here that I have to make happen. So string has that many placeholders, but substitutions will be consistent. Self file name loc. Failing test. Cool. I too have reached the point in the night where I'm just watching weird ass videos on YouTube and falling asleep. Yeah. sounds like most nights for me. No.write dot. I put the comment inside the string. Oops. Else and else. Okay, cool. Positional count does not equal substitution count. Positional. Self dot report. Class name. Node. Okay. Does that test pass now? Cool. Both of these cases are handled. Okay, that's what I expect, so that's good. But this works fine. But I'm just gonna ignore that case, I guess. Here's like two edge cases that I have to handle for dictionaries on the right hand side. So one is splatted keywords. Oh, I guess I also have to do that for elements. Shoot. Python 3.5 feature. The percent format has so many more edge cases. Python 3.5. Syntax, right? Yeah. Cool. Can you format a set? I don't think so. Okay. Yeah, so it's busted right now. I need to fix that. Okay, cool. So we fixed that, at least for positional star eggs. We'll probably have to do the same thing for dictionary star eggs. Although I don't know what that looks like. Even though I just showed it. The keys, oh, if any of the keys are none. It's a syntax error in Python 2. Oh, but I need to check if any of the keys are not strings. That's easy enough. I should write some tests for this. So... So here it's more like the keys don't match. Well, what did we do for the other ones? How's it going? It's going well. I'm running out of steam. I'm a little tired, but I'm so close to finishing this. How's it going for you? Is it me? Is this me? I don't know how to pronounce it. How's your evening or morning or whatever time you're on? What is it that you're working on? Hazy is me. Okay, cool. So I'm working on a feature for pyflakes, which is a linter for Python. There's kind of 3 features that I'm working on here for detecting invalid string formatting. The first is cases like this, where you have an F string that doesn't have any placeholders in it. So usually an F string should have a placeholder in it. The second case that I'm handling is format strings that have either the wrong number of parameters, or the wrong number of placeholders, or invalid placeholders because you can't switch from automatic to non-automatic, or like keys that don't exist, or extra keys that aren't valid. A bunch of different cases around that. And then the last thing that I'm checking for is the same stuff but for percent formatting. So like too many things formatted, or too many placeholders or keys missing in dictionaries, etc. But yeah, that's what I've been working on for the last 3 hours or so, and I'm so close to being done. But I just need to figure out like the right way to word stuff now. Thank you, KZ is me, for following. Every follow counts. Cool stuff, yeah. My hobby is like code formatters and linters and stuff like that. So I maintain a Git hooks and linter runner framework called Precommit, which supports a bunch of different programming languages and a bunch of different tools, and also knows things about Git, so we could do more intelligent linting and stuff. And I've also written a bunch of associated tools that make Precommit work better. I also maintain or assist in maintaining Flake8, so I am involved in the linter stuff there, and so I also contribute a lot to the underlying tools. I've also written some code formatters myself, so my most popular one is called pyupgrade, which takes syntax and upgrades it for newer versions of Python, so things like upgrading set literals, comprehensions, format specifiers, which is what we're working on today, but in pyflakes, and percent format, which I managed to steal the code for this for pyflakes to do the same thing. But pyupgrade does a bunch of other stuff, including the feature that everyone's super excited about, automatically converting, again, format strings. It always comes back to format strings. Converting format calls to f strings. But anyway, that gives some background on why I'm working on this. But I'm on the like very last test case, which is making sure that these mapping types match up properly. So I'm running the messages for these. So there's from the error messages I had extra positional arguments and missing arguments. So I think I'll do that same pattern here, but for percent format. I've just been looking for open source software stuff to try to be contributing to something. Are you looking for something to contribute? I can point you in the direction of some stuff. Or at least how to find things to contribute to. This should have been down here. We don't actually need that one. Format missing arguments. Sort of. Most projects I've looked into don't have a lot of issues that are fleshed out or interesting, and I don't personally use the projects. Yeah, it's hard to get involved with projects that you don't use. Which yeah, I don't blame you for not contributing to projects that you don't use. Like, why would you make something better if you're never gonna see the fruits of your labor? Like, you don't really care about the output of things. Which is probably how I've gotten involved in so many projects. Like, for instance, I maintain PyTest now as well, and it originally started with me just doing a couple of small contributions where I had personal interest. And oops, I want to click on that. Like back in like late 2016, I had a few little things that I wanted to work on, and mid 2017 I also worked on some stuff too, but then I got added to the project, and I've been keeping up with stuff since then, so it's fun. It's fun for me, at least. But I originally started with working on it was something to do with like binary capturing or something, or like some micro bug. Oh no, older. Somewhere in here. Oh, looks like my first test, or my first contribution, didn't really do much. Just like simplify some stuff. But the first thing that I did was improve the bytes capturing. This was breaking 2016, so I was at Yelp at the time, so it was probably some test at Yelp. Oh yeah, Cheetah Lint. Yeah, definitely Yelp. I contributed to this. Looks like some other people wanted this too. Oh, you have a buddy at Yelp. How long have they been there? Oh, full-time I write C# stuff, but I don't want to do that in my spare time, maybe. I want to learn and use more Golang. Yeah, Golang's an interesting language. I've written a little bit of it, not so much. Who's your friend at Yelp? Oh, you can just say, like, first name and how long they've been there, because you don't want to really, like, give them away on stream, I guess. I have lots of friends at Yelp. What's up, Age Monkey? Thanks for following. Every follow counts. But yeah, I used to work at Yelp. I was there for 5 years. I started working on JavaScript, then I moved to kind of full stack, and then I moved to web frameworks, and then I did like infrastructure and stuff. Bill, app engineer. He's been there for a year. Oh, okay. Well, I left a little bit more than a year ago, so I guess I wouldn't know them. But they've unfortunately probably seen my code at some point, because you don't work at a company for 5 years without leaving a pretty big footprint. Extra keys equals substitution keys minus names, and missing keys equals names minus substitution keys. If extra keys, missing keys. Yeah, I had a good run at Yelp. Now I'm at Lyft, where I work on developer tooling and developer infrastructure. Oh, I should have written the test first before doing this. So this has format in it twice, because I am tired. That's cool. I work for a mortgage company. You're the sole dev currently, and it is just alright currently. Well, at least it's not bad. I think it could be worse. I definitely went from being happy to just alright to not so just alright, and that's why I left Yelp. But I totally understand that. Like, it's not bad, it's not good, but it's something. But it's something.jpg. Risky search. Yeah, here we go. It's something. I feel like anytime I search for any kind of meme, I'm just like risking some terrible thing showing up in Google Images search. I have a good manager and I work remote, so it's pretty good, but meh. I mean, those are two good combinations. Like, finding good managers is hard. I won't talk about my current manager, but I've had some, I've had some managers that left things to be desired. And remote work is great. Like, I wish I could work remote. I probably could, but I just haven't gone through the loops to make it, or the hoops. Go through the loops, yeah. And then jump through the hoops to make that a thing. Just don't feel challenged enough and enough interesting work, I guess. Yeah, getting bored is probably the worst thing about working at a place that I couldn't work if I was bored. I just like always want to do stuff. Which I was bored last week because Lyft was in a code freeze, and so right before our IPO. So I was very antsy because I wanted to do stuff but couldn't. Alright. This is... So this would be missing these. Have you guys ever heard of the app Blind? Yeah, our IPO did go pretty well. I'm pretty happy about that. Have you ever heard of the app Blind? No, I have not. And app. Anonymous Work Talk. What am I reading here? Oh. So you can like... Is this so you can like gossip? Oh, how many of you guys will be Lyft millionaires tomorrow? Lyft stock will plummet before they can sell because who in their right mind would bet on Lyft over Uber? Wow. Wow. Oof. It's like all shitposting just reminded me because when the Lyft IPO happened, there was some good stuff. Yeah, I mean, this seems pretty spicy. I don't care about your replies. I bet the price per share will drop to $30 in a month or two and 5 to 10 afterwards. Wow. And I hope that's not true. An engineer's syllogism. I'm good at understanding numbers. The stock market is made of numbers. Therefore, wow, where did all my money just go? Yeah. XKCD comment. When can employees sell their stock? Not until the end of September. Which is unfortunate. Not a single Lyft employee in this thread. They're not allowed to. It's pretty true. We're partying. This is also true. Friday was pretty crazy. Hey, any chance you know Java? Yes, I have written some Java. Okay, that's enough of this. Yes, I do know some Java. I wrote Java at my first job out of high school. It was not very good Java, but it was Java. I also wrote a application that I've recently ported to Kotlin. Any chance you could help me translate Python code to Java if you're not too busy? I mean, if it's short, I could probably do it. Not too long, then yeah. My favorite was when most of Facebook was down. Why is it down? The problem was delete code. Oh, that's pretty good. Messages is not defined. Right, it's M here, not messages. Sent format extra named argument. Was my test just wrong? Extra named arguments. Alright, those tests pass. 128 lines of code. Here we go. My Java is way rustier than my Python. Oh boy, this is pretty long. Alright, I'll show it on. Seems benign. Open a file, you load the lines, you split the lines. The last... Oh, you strip the new line off the end of the line. I could have just done line.strip new line. It's the first line. Okay, so it's like a CSV parser or tab separated value parser. Is it by space though? I guess you could have space separated. The ride ID is based on the row number. Okay, so that's not so bad. I've tried. I can show you what I've got, but my Java knowledge isn't good enough. Feels bad, man. Yeah, I would probably spend most of the time Googling how to read a file, to be honest. Because like most of it is going to be, what is it, your stream reader? Input stream reader. Light streams to character streams. Buffered reader. This is the thing. Files read all lines. Oh, that's way better. So the last time I wrote Java was, I think, Java 6. Let's see, Java 6 release date. Yeah, yes, definitely the last time I wrote Java was Java 6. I think my last Java project was in 2009. Oh no, I wrote some Java in 2012, but it was before Android supported Java 7. So I didn't have nice things. Yeah, most of this is really just like string manipulation and math. But otherwise, like, a lot of this code is just going to be the same. Why does this sound like code from work? Why do I feel like I'm doing work? That's ages ago. Yeah. Hashtag old. But yeah, I think most of this is just like, how do you do file IO in Java, which is just like, looks like work code or school code. Yeah. This looks like an interview question. What is this? Who are you? Probably an ad. I have ad block, right? Yeah. But yeah, so what I would do for this, so it looks like they're representing a vehicle as a dictionary. So what I would do instead is use like a class that has an attribute that maps to a array list. And then you should almost be able to like straight port the for loops. Now enumerate, you'll write, I guess you do a range for with indexes in Java. Not a range for with indexes. I know you can in Kotlin. But index range. For each loop. Seems like no. You would have to loop with an index-based loop. Which is not as good. Feels very ride-share-y sort of code, yeah. I say it sounds like code that I read at work. But yeah, are you stuck on any particular part of this? I've done stuff like this in traffic and C++ for school. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, what are you stuck on, Void Lieutenant, Void LT? Assuming it's Lieutenant, I don't necessarily know. Oh, I can't properly read the file in Java. They're just like, let's see, buffered, reader, read line. Examples. Oh, I hate these docs, they don't have examples. Oh. So make a buffered reader and then read a line. This is essentially the same as that for loop in Python. I guess you could use read all lines. Yeah, that's right. We were just talking about read all lines. Example. We got a Stack Overflow. One line of code. Read all. Why does no one have read all lines? Java. Oh. That's way better. You don't even need to deal with buffered reader at all. Huh. Yeah, this seems way better. I didn't even know about this. What are they doing here? Why is there weird spaces? Guess I'll never know. Okay, so there's two other errors that I have to handle for percent format as well. I'm going back to this. I'm done with the Java. You can keep asking like directed questions and I'll answer them, but I want to finish this. Percent format expected mapping. Expected mapping, but got sequence. Percent format expected sequence message. Expected sequence dot mapping. Have you always just used Nano? I don't have my FAQ yet, but let me let me link you a video. The answer is no. There's the long answer in that video, which actually talks about why I use a virtual machine as well. But no, I do know how to use Vim. I'm not a complete noob. I know how to do fancy things in Vim too, and like visual mode, and you know, sort the file, and I can quit. But I got faster at Nano, and I don't know, it gets the job done, so I continue using it. It is pretty funny though. It wasn't a noob thing, huh? I just sort of expected Vim or Emacs or something, or an IDE. Yeah. I used to use Visual Studio, and I absolutely loved it. Muting stream to watch video. Yeah, go for it. Expected mapping. Bar S. I'm listening to both. It really is an experience, yeah. I wish, so like, I used to have this special like audio setup where I had two sets of single headphones, and I would listen to one thing in one ear and one in the other. But I don't have that hardware set up anymore. Just so I could like multitask on stuff in school. But now I try and focus on one thing. It's enough distraction to have like the music playing and programming at the same time, because like sometimes I get really into the beats and just kind of throws me off. Although at work I listen to like crappy punk rock while I write code. And that can be really distracting at times. But sometimes it's good. Set format expected sequence. We failed those tests. So if it's a list and not positional, expected mapping node. If positional and positional count does not equal 1, then or greater than 1. Subs to YouTube, thanks. Yeah, so I always put up my streams after the fact on YouTube. I also have some other content on there, and I plan to put more content on, just like tutorial videos and like stuff I find interesting with programming. To be honest, the reason I don't put up more YouTube videos is editing takes forever and I don't have the time to do it. So that's why I don't have so much content on YouTube other than my streams as of recent. Oh, this should just prematurely return here. What have I contributed to Ubuntu? So some of it is just like little bug fixes to packages, but the biggest thing that I do for Ubuntu is I maintain Python backports. So I work on, or I maintain the Dead Snakes PPA, which I guess both backports and forward ports different versions of Python. So I do a bunch of work with packaging stuff. Hey, what's up, Rubadub TV? How are you doing? Rubadub TV is working on some cool JavaScript MMO, which is pretty cool. If you haven't checked out their channel, I'd suggest it. Watch their stuff from time to time. But yeah, I maintain Python packaging, and so Python 3.8 doesn't ship, well, 3.8 doesn't exist yet. It's only an alpha, but it also doesn't ship with Ubuntu Bionic, but I built and packaged this. It's relatively high quality packaging. Also, I have like forward ported old versions, so like 3.5 doesn't ship with Bionic, so I have packaging for stuff. What am I working on today? I'm working on adding some checks, some code quality checks to pyflakes. So there's a bunch of cases that can be determined statically as problems. So like in Python, if you format something where you have the wrong number of format specifiers, like this can be statically determined to have like it expected 2, but you only passed 1, and so you can detect this at before runtime. And so I'm working on adding checks for that to pyflakes, which is a popular Python linter. And then pyflakes rolls up into flake8, which I maintain, and so I'm gonna get those fixes eventually. Just peeked at the game, Rub-a-Dub TV, and it looks really nice. Yeah, the art is so nice on that game. A couple of streams ago, I worked on my really crappy Pokemon game, and let's see, do I have a link to that? I have pictures. I can show the picture. Oh, where are those? But yeah, I showed my like crappy Pokemon game on stream, and this is what it kind of looks like. But it looks like nothing compared to Rub-a-Dub TV's game. But watching your stream inspired me to try and bring mine back to life, though. So that's why I worked on it. I got it kind of functioning again. I don't think I'll finish it, but it was fun to look back on stuff that I hadn't worked on in forever. Yeah, and I ported it to Python. I don't know if I put it up. Did I make it public or not? I don't think I made it public. Probably because it's still private. But I converted the server bits from like 1,000 lines of C# to 110 lines of Python, including a giant hack to serve static files. Mostly got it working. I'll make it public once I swap the assets from my own sprites, even though I won't finish it. But like right now, I think I'm using copyrighted material. So yeah, the C#. So I gave up a lot by going from 1,000 to 100. There was like, I guess I think it's mostly JavaScript. I guess it is mostly JavaScript. But I gave up a lot of like type safety and stuff for just like, screw it, I'll load as JSON, not validated in the data. Like I lost a bunch by switching it, but it's not equivalent, but it's enough to get the job done, I guess. Why do these tests still fail? Unused name arguments. Oh, right. Okay, cool. I think I'm done with this feature. I guess I should run the test in Python 2. Because I haven't done that yet. Cool. Alright, I'm gonna call that good enough. I'm exhausted. It's been 3 hours and 45 minutes. It's past my bedtime. And so I'll wind the stream down here. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Let's see. What's my outro? Okay, so if you missed any part of the stream, you can catch it on YouTube. My YouTube is the same as my Twitch, so it's youtube.com/AnthonyWritesCode. I usually announce the streams right before I go live on Twitter. My Twitter doesn't match my YouTube or my Twitch because brand loyalty is hard. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Code with Anthony, and that's where I announce my streams. But other than that, that's all I've got for today. Thank you all for stopping by, and I hope to see you next time. I'll be streaming again on Saturday at 1 p.m. For my normal, regularly scheduled stream. But other than that, that's all I've got for today. Let's see if anyone else that I know is streaming, and we'll send you guys along to them. How do I usually do that? I logged in Twitch. Okay. Alright is streaming. They work on Python. Oh well, I have to watch an Amazon ad first. Damn it. Maybe if I open it in Chrome, I don't have to watch an ad. They usually work on like security tooling. Why is this so low quality? There we go, 1080p. Now we dropped frames, right? Okay, cool. I'm gonna send you off to them. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and